Greetings, party people. I'm Kevin on 7KSW, and I'm excited to show you the breakout rooms portion of the GLAARG spreadsheet many of us use for our remote testing sessions. This sheet was originally made by Connor, KD9LSV. However, I made a few modifications. I don't think I made too many modifications to this sheet specifically, but I have made modifications to the whole spreadsheet in general to to help meet the needs of my team as well as the laziness of myself. So first of all, well, actually, before first of all, which is a long time ago, I'm not sure. Anyway, this will be focused on how we do things at my sessions and my team. However, it's pretty darn similar to how most other teams that use the spreadsheet for remote sessions do things. So now, first of all, I'll cover what you need to know as a VE who's going to be in one of our rooms. I'm not sure if I said this. If not, I'm getting pretty disorganized here. But this sheet, the breakout rooms portion of this spreadsheet, we use it to assign people to different areas of the session, as well as to particular testing rooms. So first I'll cover what you need to know as a VE who's going to be in one of the rooms, and then I'll cover what you need to know as um, as somebody who's going to be helping the session manager, me or the other or whatever session manager, check people in and do the actual assignments. Cool. So first of all, if we look down here under VE arrived, we see all the people who are here at the session, including myself. Everybody who is at the session will appear in either green or yellow. If they're in green, it means that they are assigned to a room, so you can see myself. I am assigned to the main room, so I show up in green up there and down here. But you can see that Nick and Steve are in yellow, and that's because they are here at the session, but they are not assigned to any rooms. And then if somebody shows up in white, it means that they are assigned to a room, but they are not at the session. Cool. So the different rooms you see here correspond to the breakout rooms in the actual Zoom meeting. So we have the testing rooms. Here are the first 4 testing rooms, for example. And then we also have welcome, pre-check, ready, and exit, which is where applicants may go before or after they take their tests. So if we look at here, we'll look at room 1. We can see, so usually I will put who I want to be the room lead at the top. In this room, it doesn't really matter. Actually, you know what, before I talk about that, I'll say that the FCC requires at least 3 people watching an exam at all times. However, we usually like to have 4 in each room in case one of them drop out. And now I'll say that I usually put the person I want to be my room lead there at the top. And that kind of indicates that they're responsible for the room. So here Heather is responsible for all of this craziness that's going to happen in that room. And usually we put somebody who's a little bit more experienced as the room lead, so that they know what to do in case the unthinkable happens. Which I'm not sure what constitutes as unthinkable, but there are plenty of different things that can happen that not everybody is prepared for. Anyway, and then the order down here doesn't really matter, but you can see where everybody is here. So if if you show up in room 2, you'll know that you'll be going to room 2. And if you show up in welcome, you'll know that when it's time for all of us to go to our rooms, you will go to the welcome room. It's helpful to keep things organized that way. Under the rooms, you can see the applicants um, that have been assigned to that room. So we still see the applicants from our previous video here. So we see that, well, in the previous video, we assigned Stephanie to room 1. So if we go back here, we will see Stephanie down here hanging out in room 1. But we see that she's green, which means that she is done. So this view helps me see what the status is of each room, as well as if the last applicant shows up and I'm trying to decide which room to send them to, I might look at this to see which room has tested the least number of applicants. Cool. So now we'll go into more detail about what you need to know if the session manager tells you, hey, I want you to help me check people in, or I want you to do the VE, the room assignments. So first of all, we'll go over checking people in. You see all of these spots here have little drop-down icons next to them, and you can click them, and basically it pulls from a table of all the VEs that exist within the incredible GLAARG VEC. And you can search through that list simply by going in there or going into the cell, and then you can type in their call sign. And then you can see the VE appears up there, and you can either click on this or click the down arrow to select it. I usually either like to search by call sign or by VE number, and then select it like that, because, and I just usually choose whichever is the easiest for me to physically type or remember. You could also search by name. However, depending on the name, you might have to be a little bit more specific. Cool. So that is how you check in VEs, and then if they show up in yellow, you know that we haven't assigned them to a room yet. Next up, assigning VEs is also pretty simple. You just go to the room that you want to assign them to. So let's say we want to build out a room 2 here. We'll go down here, say, oh hey, look, Nick and Steve have not been assigned to a room yet. We have not put them in a room yet. So we'll just put them in here, same way. AFL. Took me a second. And populate them that way. You can also, in that kind of situation, you can also simply copy and paste the name and paste it without formatting in there. Sometimes, not sometimes, anytime in one of these cells that is expecting, so all these cells with the arrows are expecting a VE to be in them, or at least are ready to receive that kind of input. So if we type in something that's not a VE, it'll give you this little tag on the top right, and it'll tell you that it's invalid. If you see that, don't panic too much. It just means that whatever you typed in is not a VE, or maybe it's a VE with an expired, or with, not expired, but, with a different license class than what you put in there. Or sometimes maybe we'll add like a note in here, that somebody is observing. We'll say Josh is observing in that room. We might put that in there for fun. Um, so in terms of assignments, we usually put 4 in a room. Moving VEs around is easy. If let's say, fun fact, Connor and Caitlin are siblings, um, and siblings don't always get along, so I might want to take Connor and move him over here to this room. The easiest way for me to do that is copy and paste, um, but you can also just manually oops, type in his VE number and then select it there. You'll see here that it shows up in red, which means that it's a duplicate. So sometimes we can just fix that by deleting the extra one that we don't want. Sometimes I'll assign somebody to exit, for example, and then I'll try to assign them to a room, completely forgetting that I assigned them to exit. And then the spreadsheet kind of helps me out to say, hey, we got a little bit of an issue here. But you can also um, make assignments for the future, or for like people who have not shown up yet. That sounds a lot more intense than it actually is. But say if you know somebody is coming, but they just haven't shown up yet, you can put them in one of the rooms just like normal, and then they'll show up in white. Um, and then as soon as they show up at the meeting, uh, we'll check them in down here, and then they will be green. So if you see a bunch of VEs that are not green or yellow, it just means that they are going to be in that room when they show up, but they just haven't shown up yet. Boom. So this kind of helps our life in keeping it organized. Another cool feature is that it's the VE list here on the left, which just shows all the VEs who are checked in at the session. And it's organized alphabetically by call sign, which is the same way that Exam Tools organizes the VE list. So that way you can compare the spreadsheet and exam tools side by side, so you can clean up exam tools by finding all the people who are on the exam tool session but not on the spreadsheet, which means that they're on exam tools but they haven't shown up at the session, and clean up the exam tools VE list. So if we see that we have 9 people checked in, or 9 people added to exam tools, but only 8 on the spreadsheet, we can deduce that somebody is probably on exam tools who is not on the session, and then we could go down this list and try to figure out who it is, and then remove them from exam tools, or add them to the spreadsheet if we forgot to check them in. Boom. So this helps keep our life organized for the VEs, for all of us showing up at a session. It helps us see where we should go, rather than every single person having to ask or have someone tell them where they need to go. Um, yeah, every little piece of assistance we can get with keeping our life in order, we welcome them. We will welcome it with open arms. I'll also remind you that you can always request different rooms, or if you want to do welcome or exit, or even pre-check or ready if that's an option, you can, well, we don't use pre-check and ready too much anymore, which is why I said that. But if you ever want to do something else, you can always let the session manager know. Worst case scenario, they will tell you no. But do not hesitate to ask. Or if you like another VE and you want to be in a room with them, most of us are happy to at least try to accommodate that. Awesome. Well, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. And don't forget to have fun.